It's a great opportunity to be here today and speaking with everyone when it comes to artificial intelligence and how it works in actually marketing and management, and what kind of opportunities it gave to us, it's giving already today, and what is the future in there. So the process when it comes with artificial intelligence or the questions to it, there will be always a discussions whether it is good or not, or what we have to do and how to use it. So therefore, today what I will do is that I will speak with you a little bit about my vision, how, for example, artificial intelligence does work into the management, how we are applying all of those different tools into the marketing, and some of you might be surprised, some not, but anything we do today, which are kind of related to the marketing, it's already, whether we want or we don't want, we are using some of the tools of artificial intelligence into the everyday life. Before I will go into the details here, I think Zana introduced that I'm originally from Georgia, and a funny part about that is that I only lived in my country for 15 years, and I have been on the road for the remaining of it, doing this marketing and communications in different parts of the market, whether that's the US or Europe, and kind of that gives me that nice opportunity to share with you how everything starts. And when we look today's environment, for example, where should we go with marketing? And I always have to say that traditional marketing, for example, always have to be the cornerstone on whatever we are doing. So for example, when we are applying the artificial intelligence to the marketing, and especially doing this digital mapping of the contents, email marketing, online marketing, all of those details, right? We have to think of it about our customers, right? So when there was the time about, let's say, user experience, about the needs and wants, today we are talking about the experiences, okay? So today what the customers want, literally, just the experience, all right? Needs and wants will be always there. However, as market is changing and we are applying the digital tools, trying to be on top of the game as much as we can, because technologies are changing day by day. So therefore, we have to modify our performances based on that. So every day you hear, for example, concepts about the voice recognition, all right? What is the virtual perception? For example, all the translations we use, how to look from translate, for example, one language to another language, everything that's the artificial intelligence and marketing does use it. Because that actually, those little things I just mentioned, end of the day, it helps us out to make decisions which are based on, for example, some of the data which, for example, we can gather faster and easier, right? So when we talk about the all technologies into the marketing and management, it basically helps us to optimize the information, all right, and speed up a lot of different activities that we want to do, right? So the end of the day, end of the result for that is, for example, improving the customer experience. Every business organization, that's what we are concentrating on. But it's not only about, for example, improving the customer experiences. It is about how we are engaging with them and how we are conversating, right? So therefore, any, let's say, concepts we apply into, let's say, product or the service development, we have to think what kind of engagement or the conversation we have or we will create. And many of you know that many of us have used the chatbots. And I joke about the chatbots because chatbots basically do the job when we sleep, all right? Because it kind of helps us to engage with different audiences, for example. And we all know that today everything is so interconnected with each other. Half of the world sleeps, one another works, right? So therefore, the chatbots are helping us to engage with different consumer behaviors. And when we talk about the marketing and thinking about the consumer behaviors, especially in the today's society, right, what we see is that we all think and perform differently, all right? Many of us, for example, has woken up or has stayed late up, have done the shopping. And what happens? We might have some questions there, right? So therefore, when we apply artificial intelligence marketing, right, what we try to do is that we try to leverage the data or the information. So whatever we do is that, for example, we have a customer data, and then we have our concepts. So end of the day, we're trying to anticipate what kind of the customer experiences will be, or what's going to be basically the next move of the potential customer, right? Well, what we try to do is that literally we are trying to follow the customer journey, basically trying to see the patterns, all right? Those are some of the very interesting aspects of the digital marketing, because I have to look from side as a marketer why we want that information. So basically we want to create a better customer experience, but also create a lot of questions. For example, ethicality, how much information we can have, because literally we are targeting the customers, right? But on the other side, we also have to think, well, they want the information. So how easily and faster we can conversate or deliver one or another type of experience. We get frustrated, for example, when we ask the question, for example, through online platforms, and the response is, hold on for a moment, and then you're sitting there for 30, 40 minutes and nobody has responded. That's the chatbot, right? So we ask the questions ourselves, what kind of, for example, customer experience we just created, all right? So all of those little things make a difference in the digital marketing. Therefore, as practitioner in the field, I can say that artificial intelligence significantly improved job of the marketers, all right? If before we would spend like hours and hours to modify data or improve the data about our customers, today, we just can easily with one click optimize information, look on the concepts, look on the patterns, and okay, we know that this particular person buys almost every day this particular type of chocolate in this particular store. So therefore, that's kind of the targeting the customers, how we're gonna get to that particular market, provide more and more, for example, the targeting communication with them, right? Sometimes that sounds like creepy, right? That means that we are trying to follow the customers. Trust me, when I was first time introduced how the digital marketing works and how this tracking works, I was like, oh my goodness, I can literally see how many times this particular individual clicked on my website and actually saw which kind of the products they have looked and put on the basket, or just left it there and gone. So a lot of businesses today use this artificial intelligence, for example, to track those, let's say, the customers who have visited the website, made 1 or 2 clicks, 3, but they left without making any particular purchase or any particular activity, right? So that particular heat map then gives the information to the customer team. Hey, our main target today is to reach out those individuals who visited but did not purchase, right? Amazon does an excellent job with that. And a lot of other companies, for example, have followed and have created, for example, the chatbots or created their blogs on the particular website, because what they want to do, they want to conversate with the customers, because as I have here, it helps us to build better effective marketing strategies. Why? Because we have strategized the content, right? Artificial intelligence still needs a little bit of the modifications to create this particular content what we want. However, it helps us to strategize when and how, what kind of information to share with the customers, right? It also helps us to improve the customer journey, but more importantly, it helps to nurture, for example, the conversations, how, for example, customers are perceiving our businesses, how they are perceiving our opportunities, and et cetera, because at the end of the day, for success, for better engagement, and basically for better return on investment, we have to know those particular behaviors, and I'll help with that, right? For example, I am putting here, there is this concept of the race growth process, which is very interesting because it actually shows the customer life cycle, for example, how we can look on what stage, how artificial intelligence, for example, helps us, and how we're gonna look for example, on the existing markets or existing products and the future in there. And I'm going to demonstrate this quick chart is right here. This is the race model on the life cycle, for example, right? You have the first one, the reach. So what are the components of the marketing we are using, for example, to get, as I mentioned, connect with our customers, right? TV, radio, print, events, sponsorships, all right? Search engine optimization, content marketing. Those are the parts of the reach, and you can see it here. For example, this one, right, are used in the in-store and offline. So digital marketing, basically, when we are applying those artificial intelligence or even machine learning, helps us to connect with the customers even when we are offline. When I spoke, for example, with the clients or when I speak with the leaders into the marketing, I always tell them it is hugely important to have a very strong offline presence because customers don't look on the other side. Whenever they are online, they want to get that information. So how we do that? So we gotta do better ways, engage them. I know it's hard, but still, it takes the time. That's why what I personally believe is that artificial intelligence or applying this machine learning is going to help how to better manage those concepts. And then you have an ACT, all right? So ACT is basically the growth strategy here, how we are moving up on the life cycle, right? You start with the social media, right? Many of us right here, how many of us, more than 60 people in here, and one or somehow some type of the social media platform we have, and we are using them, right? The advertisements, information that we are receiving, even in the text messages, everything is particularly designed and calculated how we are putting, for example, marketing automatization and how we are tracking your shopping, for example, the patterns. Whether we want or we don't want, when we pay with a credit card, we automatically are putting the information out there that this is the pattern. So the same credit card will be recognized when you make another purchase. So therefore, you're already creating your purchasing behavior, what you do. If every second day you buy shoes and those shoes are Adidas, we will know that, let's say the customer X is buying every time this particular type of shoes. So the campaigns or your targeted information will be about those particular products. And then you're talking about how we're going to convert our customers. And obviously, that's the maturity stage. We have the loyal customers. How better we can be working with them and what kind of opportunities we are creating, because today, artificial intelligence helps us to re-engage with our customers. It's the loyalty, but also the retention of our customers. The customer service uses a lot of, for example, chatbots, all right? And that helps to connect because we want to make sure that when customer purchases and uses our product, well, they will come back and start using it because they had a really good experience. This is very important. But we also have to understand that when we live in this virtual environment or digital environment, right? We can think that, well, the digital marketing is the science fiction, right? Yeah, a couple of years back when it was first introduced, it looked like science fiction. Oh my goodness, how that works. But today, hey, it is even bigger concept because it really actually works, right? The projections, I have the information that a lot of businesses and companies are planning to invest a lot of money into artificial platforms. It is calculated, there is one other research that by 2000, let's say 35, there are $14 trillion increase into the artificial platforms. So what is this tendency shows to us as the learners in this environment is that, hey, we have to step by step start understanding how those concepts work and what kind of impact it will have on our everyday life, right? This is key. This is how businesses or the companies or even individual marketers will stand out from the competition, right? Because we have to look on these opportunities, and I have some of the opportunities count here, all right? We're talking about identifying the customer behaviors and then nurturing future, let's say behaviors, or the working with the leads of this, let's say the prospects that we have, and we're going to target. For example, when we're using the artificial intelligence, there is one really good website. It's called the Blue Shift. it actually helps to segment the particular markets that we are going. It's the one-on-one optimization, one-on-one content creation. So it actually speeds up the services, all right? It makes sure that formats are adaptable to the business type that we are doing, all right? And they are key indicators for the, for example, business successes. However, we also have to think about some of the limitations. When we talk about the artificial intelligence, it's about the vast amount of the numbers or the data that we have. When we talk about the data, we have to think how much of this information is structured and can be worked. Because majority of the information that we receive, especially using these scanner tools that digital look at, we cannot use majority of the data. So therefore, some of this information we might lose or will be stored somewhere in the cloud. And as fast the information is progressing, we have data today, tomorrow that information is old. Therefore, marketers have to think about that. Well, how we're going to make these predictions with the current data and information. Still though, one of the limitations with artificial intelligence is that, which I personally feel is very important, it's not human at all right? Therefore, when we are applying that, it is really hard to replace the human concept into the digital marketing. You still need it, because when we talk about the marketing in general, right, it's super complicated and it's super complex. Therefore, you still need some of the involvement in it, all right? And one other thing I always have to argue, for example, with my colleagues is that, guys, we have to avoid having some of the, let's say, unrealistic expectations when it comes to the artificial intelligence, all right? Because again, we can put a lot of concepts into it, but we also have to think that what can we do? And when we look forward, yeah, marketing is marketing. However, into the management, it comes in place the big role because it helps in the forward thinking, all right? It enables good managers, for example, to become the great managers, all right? Because that helps us, for example, to embrace the opportunities that we have there, to scale our skills that we have, and then measure them, because how can help us to do it, all right? There are softwares that help the management to do that. And also, look at this one, it helps to crunch the numbers, identify our performance patterns, and make fast-driven decisions. That's how important is artificial intelligence into management as well, because now we can have a numbers and we can see the performances. There is one another approach, it's called the OKRs, which is like objectives and key results, that actually helps based on this tracking, all right, how we can align performances and on the day measure them. What was done right now, later, based on the quarters or whatever is in the organization, but when overall evaluate the performances of the organization. So basically what it is that it helps to cover the day-to-day slack, for example. It avoids the routine work that we have there and we have to waste the time. Hey, let's artificial intelligence or the softwares there do that, the optimization. However, let's focus more on the high value activities that we need for the better business performances. I have this really concept that it raises your boss game, all right? Because with those information that we can articulate from there, all right, it helps to better the team dynamics, to better manage the, hey, we are missing something here, what can we do, all right? But those information and data also, we have to think from the other side, has to be used the right way, ideally to help to better the performances, right? And I have some of these notes here, just wanted to share that. Note one is that machine learning, for example, is here and it's here to stay. There is no questions about it, all right? Moving forward, it will continue impacting the performances and everything that we have. But look on the other side, the artificial intelligence, when we look on them, things are a little more complex, all right? So idea in artificial intelligence, it will still continue growing. What's going to happen is that a lot of companies and businesses will be developing more and more different softwares or the features, and they will be targeting the organizations. Guess what? That's what we got to do. That's there. And then lastly, marketers need to keep in mind that the current breed of the artificial intelligence is strictly based on the machine learning and automatization. It's the combination of it. So idea for them is that to discover, for example, and implement insights or some of the concepts that, for example, human teams cannot do it. But importantly, as fast as possible and into the large scale. That's how it helps today. But lastly, before I will kind of finish my conversation here is that, well, artificial intelligence in a business does lift intelligence of the managers, whether leaders. So it helps to harness us some of the tools, and it helps better, for example, to be indispensable for any organization we will be working to, right? So those concepts, like I said earlier, will be there, especially if you talk about the digital marketing. Digital marketing will be heavily based on those concepts, and trust me, today, take your phone and see how often you are targeted with different campaigns. Open your Instagram, open your Snapchat, all right, or any other platforms you are using. Every second click you will do, that's the targeted information for you because it tracks your locations, your mobile data, and that's why for any of your social activities, it's the Solomon marketing, social, mobile, and the location. So with that, I will stop right here. I would trust me, I will go and talk all day long about the artificial intelligence digital marketing. I just want to make sure that all my colleagues have the opportunity to share their concepts because you will be listening a lot of information. But if there'll be any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. You guys can drop those questions in the chat there and I'll individually respond to them. If it will be in Latvian language, I think Zana will help me and I will still provide the information for you guys. But as of now, if there is any questions, please let me know and I'll be more than happy to answer. If not, Zana will introduce the next speaker for us for today, for this afternoon.
Yes, thank you, Josip, for your presentation. But before you go, I have a question for you that I would like to ask. I would like to ask you a question about impact from digital advertisements. Do you believe that, for example, companies which are using artificial intelligence in advertising can get customers to buy more than they initially intended?
That's a really good question, and it kind of comes between how we look. The primary goal when we talk about the marketing is that we want to make sure that we're going to get as much as possible sales, right? As much as the consumption. I do believe artificial intelligence will make job easier for marketers to easily connect with the customers. For example, the Netflix, right? Many of us know what is the Netflix. There is the really good research, for example, that how artificial intelligence saved millions on advertisement that Netflix will do just using this personalized concept based on what we individually go and search. So you have a personalized information, select from here, but you have a targeting campaigns. So instead of for them creating, inventing something, this all concepts basically helps them use more of it, pay those $13 that you have to pay and use the subscription. All right, so that saved them a lot. All right, and again, it's gonna be there in any industry, any field we are moving forward. Artificial intelligence will play the big role. However, it also will require this human interaction because it's still in the process of development. It's still key to understand, but again, it's gonna create a lot of engagement, and there are a lot of, for example, a couple of the results that it increases, for example, the consumption by 35% based on the content that we are creating using the app. But it also saves you and my time spending 5-6 hours developing a content week ahead, which we already can automatize like that and just sit out and do some other stuff while it does it on its own. So it's a really good one, but it's the way how we look at it. We have to use the marketer mind and do it. If we think about other side, well, oh my goodness, is it not good? But yeah, that's kind of my spiel on that. That yeah, it has a huge future, It just needs the right interaction and right using of that tools that we have.